Hello, my wonderful children. How are you doing? Hope you are keeping safe and you are observing your personal hygiene. Great. The subject we shall be looking at today is basic science and technology. And the topic is season and climate. Season and climate. Let's look at the learning objectives, what we are to achieve at the end of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, each of the pupils should be able to define what a season is, explain what rotation is, and how it brings about the day and night. Explain what revolution is and its relative importance to season. Mention the 4 seasons in the world and explain the 2 seasons in Nigeria and the division of the months of the year to each season. Before we continue, or before you go into the class proper, let's recap what we learned in our last class. In our last class, we talked about weather and climate. I said we'll begin to start from weather, then to climate, and we'll wrap it up with season. We said weather is, we learned that weather is the atmospheric condition of a place at a particular time. The atmospheric condition, rain can fall in the morning and sun will come forth in the afternoon. That is, it will be sunny in the afternoon. And we can have the cloud covered in the evening. We said the atmospheric condition of a place at a particular time is weather. And we look at the factors that can contribute to the atmospheric condition, or factors affecting the atmospheric condition of a place at a particular time. We said the factors are rainfall, temperature, humidity, sunshine, wind, air pressure, cloud cover, and so on and so forth. And we treated each of these factors. We said rainfall is the small drop of water from the cloud, from the sky. And we also looked at the instrument that you can use to measure these factors. We said for rainfall, you make use of rain gauge to measure the amount of drops of water from the sky. Then we also looked at temperature. We said temperature is at the degree of hotness or coldness of a body or a place. And we said the instrument to measure temperature is thermometer, and we have different types of thermometer. We have clinical thermometer, which is used for measuring human body. We have wet and dry bulb thermometer, and so on and so forth. We also looked at humidity. We said humidity is the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, which can make the air to be moisty. That is to contain moisture. And I cited an example of someone staying outside late in the night taking breeze. You will discover that something like water will be coming with the air that you are taking. That is humidity. And the instrument for measuring humidity is hygrometer. And we also looked at other factors like wind. We said you have 2 instruments for measuring wind. Is that the speed of wind? To measure the speed of wind, you make use of an anemometer. And to measure the direction, is it coming from the north, from the south, from the west, from the east? Then you make use of wind vane. And we also looked at other examples and other factors that can contribute to the atmospheric condition of a place. We now said climate is the atmospheric condition of a place over a long period of time. Weather is specific time, while climate is over a long period of time. And we said there is an instrument that is used for measuring the weather condition of the place over a long period of time. And the instrument is what? Great. The instrument is known as telescope. And we have astronomers. Astronomers help us to cover the atmospheric weather condition of a place over a long period of time. So today we shall be going into the next segment, which is the last segment of studying the atmospheric condition of a place, which is season. Season. Do you know that season is created by God? God is the greatest scientist. So we must give him the honor while we are trying to learn. We are not trying to unravel the handwork of God, but we are just trying to learn around his handwork. We are also one of his handwork. So we are not unraveling what he has done, his handwork, but we are just to learn. And that's why we have to give reference to him. No? And it is written in the Bible in Genesis 1 verse 14. Let me read through it. It says, then God said, let light, which is sun, let light appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to make the seasons, day and years. Day and years. The signs to make the seasons. Yes. Now, what is a season? A season is the division of the year marked by changes in weather. Ecology is plants and animals, that's human beings, living things, and the amount of daylight. A season is the division of the year marked by changes in weather, plants and animal, ecology, and the amount of daylight. Seasons result from the yearly orbit of the Earth around the sun and the slopy area of the Earth's rotational axis relative to the plane of the orbit. You know, the wisest man that ever lived. And who is the wisest man that ever lived? Solomon even said in Gfcis 3 verse 1 that for everything there is a season. For everything, the atmospheric condition of a place, the people involved, that's the living things involved in that environment, for everything there is a season. So how important season is. It's important to God to have created season. So we are going to look at season and how it is related to day, bringing about day and night, and bringing about the yearly orbit of the Earth around its axis. But before we go into learning the season, we have to look at what we have learned in our last, in one of our lessons, either in first term or second term. We talked about solar system. We said solar system comprises of the sun and the 9 planets that revolve around it, that revolve the sun. The 9 planets, the sun, and its 9 planets, that is solar system. Solar system is the movement of the sun around the 9 planets, though it's now 8. Pluto has been removed, but we still learn it as 9 planets. Solar system is the movement of the sun around the 9 planets, and there is something we can use to learn the 9 planets. There is an acronym or a hint that we can use to learn the 9 planets. The 9 planets can be learned as my very hands may just see under the 9 planets. my very eyes may just see under the 9 planets. Can we say it again? My very eyes may just see under the 9 planets. Can you say it again? My very eyes may just see under the 9 planets. Now, we'll take the first letter in each word. The first letter, M, stands for Mercury, Mercury. While V stands for Venus, Venus. E stands for Earth, Earth, Earth. M stands for Mars, Mars. While J stands for Jupiter, Jupiter. S and C stands for Saturn, Saturn, Saturn. U stands for Uranus, Uranus, Uranus. While N in 9 stands for Neptune, Neptune. While P in the planet stands for Pluto. My very eyes may just see under the 9 planets, okay? And the planet that we live in is the Earth, is the Earth. The planet that we live in is the Earth. Now, what brings about day and night? We have said season is orchestrated or built by God. Now, season marked the changes in weather. Weather talks about the condition of a place at a particular time. The changes in plants and animals, and the things that brings about daylight. Daylight. Now, let's look at rotation of the Earth. Rotation is the movement of the Earth around its axis. It takes the Earth to complete one rotation. The movement of this Earth, please, it's going to be practical, so you have to look at the screen attentively. Is that taking? You pay attention at the screen. Look at the screen very well. The rotation of the Earth, you can see this globe. Have you seen it in the physical before? Yes. It comes in form of decoration. Have you seen this? Do you have it in your house? Yes, some people used to put it on their television. They can put it on television as a form of decoration. So now this globe is the Earth that we live in. Earth is one of the planets, one of the 9 planets, and that is where we live in. Now this Earth rotates. Rotate means it moves. The movement of the Earth around its axis. Can you see this straight line, this black line? This black line is its axis. Its axis. Its axis. So it rotates around its axis. Rotates around its axis and completes it in one rotation. It completes it in one rotation in 24 hours. It takes the Earth to move around its axis, its own axis, in 24 hours, which is 1 day. 60 seconds make 1 day. 60 seconds make 1 minute. 60 minutes make 1 hour. 24 hours make 1 day. 60 seconds make 1 minute. 60 minutes make 1 hour. 24 hours make 1 day. So it takes the Earth to rotate its axis in 24 hours. And 24 hours will give us how many days? Just 1 day. Just 1 day. So how does it come about, or how does it bring about day and night? Day and night. It brings about day and night when it revolves around the sun. Check the 2 words. Rotate, revolve. Rotate means moving around its own axis. And the axis can be divided into two. We have the upper layer. Can you see before the orange sign? We have the upper layer and we have the down layer. The upper layer is known as northern hemisphere. It's known as what? Northern hemisphere is known as northern hemisphere. Is known as northern hemisphere. Is known as northern hemisphere. While the down is known as southern hemisphere. Is known as the southern hemisphere. And how do we come about northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere? Can you see the four cardinal points? The four cardinal points we have north, west, east, and south. So the upper layer of this earth is known as northern hemisphere, while the down is known as southern hemisphere. That the in-between is known as the equator. Is known as the equator. Now, the path through which it rotates, is known as orbits. Orbits is known as what? Orbits. So the movement of the earth around its axis, around its orbits, is known as rotation. And how many hours does it take to rotate around its axis? 24 hours. 24 hours, which bring about a day, which brings about a day. Now, how does it come about day and night? Day, that there will be sun, there will be bright sun, and night that it will be governed by its moon. How many moon does it have? One moon. Earth has one moon, just a moon. Jupiter has many moons. And how many moons does a Jupiter have? A Jupiter has 12 moons. 12 moons. So, and it is the biggest planet. Now, let's come back to our own planet, which is the Earth. The Earth rotates around its axis. The axis is the pathway, the orbit. And how many hours? 24 hours, which makes one day. And the sun will govern the day, while the moon will govern the night. Now, the sun, the earth, while it is rotating on its axis, will shift itself to where the sun is. Remember, solar system is the sun and the 9 planets that revolves it. Now, by the time this earth is revolving in its axis, it will move close to the sun, and that is the day. By the time it moves away while trying to turn, it then brings about the night. Now, let's go to the 4 seasons around the world. The 4 seasons around the world. The 4 seasons are the winter. The winter is always around December to March. The spring season. The winter season is the hot curfew or harmattan period. That it will still be cloudy, and at the same time will be a bit hot, and that's why it is referred to as hot curfew stroke harmattan period. Then we have the spring. The spring is very pleasant, fresh leaves coming forth, seeds take roots, and vegetation begins to grow in the spring. It is a very pleasant season, and it comes around in March. It comes around in March, April, May, June, 4 months as well. 4 months for each season. So it comes around March, April, May, June. And you will discover that even this year, when it started around April in Nigeria, we are going to see why it's like that in Nigeria. But for the spring, you will discover that the spring is a rainy season, very pleasant season that plants takes its roots and vegetation begins to grow. Fresh leaves begin to grow on plants, and we have animals wake or return from warmer climates, often with newborn. Yes, this is the time that your body is cool and everybody sleeps well, and mating, union of a man, a male, and a female gametes will occur in plants, in both plants and in animals. Animals wake or return from warmer climates, often with newborns. That's the period that mating usually takes place. Then we have the summer season. The summer season is around June to September. That is the hot season. And do you know that God is so faithful that even mangoes grow well in that season, as hot as the season is? Mangoes still grow well during this season. And we have the autumn season. The autumn season is around September to December. That is the season of falling leaves. That the weather will still be very dry. And let's look at what brings about this season. What brings about the season? What brings about the season is what is known as revolution. Revolution is the movement of the earth around the sun. Revolution is the movement of the earth around the sun. Rotation is the movement of the earth around its axis, which brings about day and night. And it completes its rotation in 24 hours. But revolution is the movement of the earth around the sun, which is solar system, the sun and the 9 planets. Now, earth is third to the sun, is in the third position to the sun. Now, the earth revolves around the sun. It revolves around the sun in 365 days, 1 over 4 days. 365, 1 over 4 days. And that's why we have leap years. Which is 366 days in every 4 years. Now, it takes the earth to revolve around the sun in 365, 1 over 4 days. How many days? Again, in 365, 1 over 4 days. In 365, 1 over 4 days for the earth to revolve around the sun. Can you see? Remember I said the earth can be divided into 2 regions. You used to remember that? The upper part as the northern hemisphere, the down part as the southern hemisphere, and the in-between as the equator as the equator. Now, the movement of the earth round the sun brings about the 4 seasons. Now, if you notice that from here, the sun, the countries in the northern hemisphere, the earth is where we live. And all the countries in the earth, all the countries with its citizens live in the earth. Now, in the earth revolves around the sun. The countries in this northern hemisphere will experience heat from the sun. Can you see the shade of this northern hemisphere? The heat from the sun will be much on the countries in the northern hemisphere, while countries in the southern hemisphere will not experience sun. Now, if the earth is revolving around its axis, if it is on this side, then it is day. By the time it moves to this side that there is no sun, then it is night. Now, if it is now revolving around the sun, which is season, changes marked in year, which is season. We have the northern hemisphere experiencing the sun. It revolves, and gets here, is still experiencing the sun, but the heat is not so strong on it. And if the heat is not so strong on it, then it is experiencing what is known as autumn, a season of falling leaves from plants. Now it moves. The northern hemisphere is away from the sun now, and making the southern hemisphere to face it this time around. So it means countries in the northern hemisphere will experience cool weather, which is the spring. And countries, the earth will still revolve, coming to this side to experience winter. And countries on this northern hemisphere will experience hot curfew / harmattan. Now, let's come down to our country. Nigeria is a country on the northern hemisphere. Remember the hemisphere up, hemisphere down, southern hemisphere in between equator. Countries, I told that we have countries and citizens in both hemispheres and also in the equator. Nigeria is a country on the northern western land mass of the continent of Africa. On the continent of Africa, we also learned about continents last time. We learned that a continent is a dry land, is a large area of dry land on earth. Is a dry area of dry land. Continent is a dry, large area. Is a large area of dry land on earth surrounded by water. So, and we said we have 7 continents in the world. We have the Northern America, we have the Southern America, we have Africa, we have Asia, we have Europe, we have Australia, and we have Antarctica. We have Antarctica. And we said Asia is the largest continent in the world, followed by Africa. And the third is North America. So Nigeria is a country on the northern western land mass of the continent of Africa. It is close to the equator. Remember the equator? Northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, equator. It is close to the equator by the Atlantic Ocean weather. That it is affected by the Atlantic Ocean weather patterns. Although it has Lake Chad, to the northeast. Northeast means in between the north and the east. Can you see the cardinal points? In between the north and the east, there are two rivers that feed into the ocean, converging in the center of the country, then heading south, sort of dissecting Nigeria in a Y shape, bringing about its map in Y shape. This is the map of Nigeria. Converging the continents, the oceans. We have 5 world oceans in 5 world oceans. There are Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Southern Ocean, and Arctic Ocean. That's the smallest world ocean. Now, the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean converge, making Nigeria to have a Y kind of shape. And we have the Lake Chad around these axes. Now, Nigeria is experiencing just 2 seasons because of these rivers, because of these oceans, which is affecting the continent, the African continent, which Nigeria is, and is making Nigeria to have just 2 seasons. And the 2 seasons are the dry season and the wet season. The dry season, which lasts from October until April, is determined by the high temperature and low humidity. And it's affected by warm winds coming from the Sahara Desert to the north. These winds are locally known as Amatan, and they come into force around December until April. Note the months. The dry season lasts from October until April. Dry season, October until April. Taking the autumn, taking the form of the autumn. Autumn starts from September in the season of the world. I would say during autumn, the weather is a bit hot. Compared to the summer. So the dry season lasts from October until April, and is determined by the high temperature and low humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the air. The air that will even be blowing there, the kind of air that will be blowing there will be hot. So it is high temperature and low humidity. Now the wet season. The wet season for the other 6 months of the year, it lasts for the other 6 months of the year. The country is in the wet season. Rain starts in the south, from the south, because it is close to the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. Rain starts in the south and then travels northwards, with most part of the country seeing the most rain in May, June, or July. Let's go to the learning objectives. I know we have had a long lesson today on season, but we must not miss the targets. Let's go to the learning objectives. We started by saying we must know what a season is. By now, you should know what a season is. And the person that created season, God created the season. We saw that in Genesis 1:14. And that's where even our Muslims brothers and sisters we always check the time and the season. Yes, for every of the festival, they will always check the season and the time, which will determine even the names they give to their children when they are doing christening. Yes, they look at the time and season. And we saw that even the wisest man that ever lived also talked about it, that there is time and season for everything. Everything. The weather, the atmospheric condition of the weather at a particular time has happened as a result of the season. Everything underneath the earth happened as a result of season and time. So what is a season? We said a season is changes marked by the year. We said season is a division of the year marked by changes in weather. Season is a division of the year marked by changes in weather, ecology, and the amount of daylight. What is season again? Season is a division of the year, 365 and 1/4 year of days, division of the year marked by changes in weather, ecology, and the amount of daylight. Season is a division of the year marked by changes in weather, ecology, and the amount of daylight. We also explain what rotation is. We said rotation is the movement of the earth around its axis, and it takes it 24 hours to rotate, which brings about the day and night. We also said we have to learn or explain what revolution is. Revolution is the movement of the earth around the sun, and its importance to season. We looked at it that a earth is divided into northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Then we have the equator revolving around the sun. The sun brings about the season. What is season again? Season is a division of the year marked by changes in weather. Mention the 4 seasons in the world. With 4 seasons in the world, we have the winter, which is the hot curfew or harmattan. We have the spring, which is the pleasant season, the time of rain. We have the summer, that is the time of hot weather. And we have the autumn is the time of falling leaves. The weather is too hot, the falling leaves. Explain the 2 seasons in Nigeria and the division of the months of the year to each season. We have 2 seasons in Nigeria, and the 2 seasons are dry season and wet season. Division of the months, we have from September. For the dry season, we have from September to March. For the dry season. We have from October until April for the dry season in Nigeria, and we have from May to October, for the wet season. And the harmattan takes place, that's still dry season, which is winter for the 4 seasons in the world. Harmattan period takes place in Nigeria. Nigeria is in the northern hemisphere. Of the earth. And harmattan takes place from December to February. I want to believe we have learned and gotten wisdom. We have got wisdom from this class. Now we can tell people when rain should start. Though we are not God, I have said it that we are not trying to unravel the handiwork of God, but we should have wisdom. We should have knowledge about what is happening around us and what brings about the happenings. And what brings about the happenings. We should be able to tell people when rain is to start. You know, we should be able to tell people that yes, rain should start from May, anything from April to May, late of April to beginning of May, and it will stop around October. We are not God. Even by now, we should still be experiencing rainfall. But we can see now that we are gradually moving towards hot curfew stroke harmattan. It has just been cloudy and cloudy since all these days, breeze, air blowing, you know, and that's just to tell you that we are not God. Though He created it on the 4th day, created it on the 4th. We are not God, but at least we should have an idea. When astronomers, remember astronomers are the ones studying the weather for us, and they are making use of telescope. I said the telescope looks like drum that the axis or actors are using to capture their film. It's somewhere or in the sky that they can use to cover large landscape. Astronomers are different from astrologers. Astrologers are people that foresee. That will tell you, Bragada, tomorrow you are going to eat rice, and tomorrow you eat rice. Astrologers. Astronomers are the people that study the weather, the atmospheric condition of the place. Okay? So when they come forth with their ideas, with their research, we should be able to also say, yes, they are right. That by December to February, we experience harmattan. And anything from April to October, or from May to October, we experience wet season. And from October to April, it is always a time of heat, hot weather, dry season. We have been able to come to the end of the class. What is a season? Once again, a season is the division of a year marked by changes in weather, ecology, and the changes in daylight. Changes in daylight. We have winter, spring, summer, autumn, and the months associated with each. Now we'll be able to come to the end of the class. If you have any question, you are free to forward it to me via the website. Bye. Have a nice day at home. Don't pump too much on mom and dad. Enjoy.